Reedie and Z Monday Command. Injury bombshell. Does Jayden Daniels have a PCL injury as reported by Grant Paulson? Austin Ekeler is out for the season with a torn Achilles. And we just signed Chase Edmonds and much more on this episode of Monday Command, Reedie and Z.
It's the Reedie and Z show. Reedie and Z show. It's the Reedie and Z show. Reedie and Z show. Reedie and Z show.
Reedie and Z Monday Command, as you guys can see from the screen, your Washington Commanders just signed Chase Edmonds, formerly of the Buccaneers and Arizona Cardinals, to the practice squad today. How you feeling, bro?
I'm feeling well. Glad we got back safely. You know what I mean? Just trying to get back into the fold of things. Like you mentioned earlier, lining up responsibilities and just kind of, getting back to our norm. But yes, our team did sign Chase Edmonds today to the practice squad, a familiar face with offensive coordinator Cliff Kingsbury. This is one that I kind of expected, just being on the fact that, like we mentioned, the familiarity with him, you know what I mean? And he kind of complements, Ekeler in the sense of being a pass catching back, kind of being a rotational guy, when running up, out the backfield as well. So definitely not an every down guy. Still expect Bill to be the one, and with Rodriguez still in the mix. But yeah, I mean, I think it's a good signing though. How are you feeling around everything? And some other injury news too.
I feel like with the injury of Austin Ekeler on Thursday Night Football up in Green Bay, a corresponding move had to be made. We'll get into that later, but we thought Bill was the number one back, and in Green Bay, he was anything else but the number one back in that game. But with Ekeler going down, he should slide into that position. So we knew they had to go out of there and bring somebody else in, or elevate somebody else on the practice squad up into that position, and they elected to add someone to the practice squad. But we'll know around 3:30 when Dan Quinn goes live and he gives us an update on the injuries coming out of this game from Green Bay. But I mean, like you said before, it's a guy with familiarity with Cliff Kingsbury. So I'm not surprised somebody that kind of knows the offense. They're not starting from scratch. That kind of knows, what Cliff likes to do. He's heard the language before. So it makes sense. Don't anticipate him being, like you said, at every down back, but he can kind of slide into that third down back, catching it out of the backfield, spelling Bill and whomever else when need be. Quite not sure with what's going to happen with Rodriguez, but we'll see.
Yeah, definitely. Chase Edmonds, he is 29 years old. He missed 2024 with a knee injury. He last played for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in 2023. He had his best year, one of his best years under Cliff. I believe it was in 2021. He was a running back by committee guy. As I mentioned, it's definitely somebody who can catch out of the backfield. I remember, during those days when they had him and I think it was who's the other running back Arizona had before Connor?
James Conner.
I mean, Connor, it was somebody else before then though. But compliment guy. I think, like I said, I think it's an okay signing, and I think it'll, it makes sense. We'll just have to see how it all works out. We'll see who, Sunday's matchup against the Raiders. We'll see who is active and inactive. The past 2 weeks, Chris Rodriguez has been inactive. Actually, week one, it was a surprise. I was low-key surprised that they, had him inactive again, because it seemed like they're not necessarily trying to move forward with a power back. And I know Bill kind of takes the, in between the tackle runs, and he can definitely take a hit. But I just think that, to preserve these guys, we definitely should be trying to, mix it up a little bit. So I hope to see Rodriguez out there, because I mean McNichols, he can be a cool third down back. He's more of a special teams guy. We're gonna need somebody to block back there. So I expect Rodriguez, some of the bigger body running backs, to kind of suit up moving forward. Yeah, and I mean, to kind of speak on the Ekeler thing, as you mentioned, we thought that Bill would kind of, get majority of the carries or be a good mix. And as we know, he only had 4 carries on Thursday. Ekeler was pretty much just as game 1 against the Giants. Ekeler was out there probably about 3 series before Bill even saw the field. You know what I mean? I just always felt, even during the Giants game, that I felt it was a little bit too much of Ekeler, on the sense of trying to preserve him, not wanting him to get injured. And not saying that is the cause of this injury. It was a non-contact injury when he tore his Achilles, but I just feel like, I mean, with his age and with his injury history, I would have thought we kind of would have, spared him a little bit, where it seemed like they was trying to feature him more and more. So, prayers out to Ekeler and his family, for all that they're dealing with. He, Ekeler put up a post the other day, and then I think when the NFL posted about his injury, he put the crying emoji in the comments. So, yeah, like, it's just like, damn, a guy that works hard, does everything right. It's kind of tough to see, and that's one of the things that Von Miller mentioned about that, even with Dedrick Wise, who's also out for the season with the quad injury. But those are 2 guys that just does everything right. They work hard. They're always there. They go the extra mile. It's for 2 guys like that to kind of fall in game 2 and be out for the season. It's tough on that. So it's tough to see, and I wish both of them well.
Yeah, that's some of the things that you have to worry about, in the NFL, that battle of attrition as it relates to the injuries. We don't know when they're going to come and how, frequently they're going to come. Like you mentioned, Dedrick Wise went down. Also Austin Ekeler. Also Coleman went out for a little bit. And then let's the elephant in the room, Grant Paulson from 106.7 The Fan reported that Jayden Daniels has had an MRI on his knee, and they're speculating that it's a PCL injury. And when I did my research on a PCL injury, they're saying that can be anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks to 6 months recovery time, depending on the severity of the sprain, or if it's a tear or what have you. We don't know. It's been reported that it's day to day. So that gives us a little bit of assurance, but 3:30 when it gets here, everybody's going to be tuned in to see what Dan Quinn has to say about JD5 and this injury, because we all know as far as he goes, that's as far as we go.
Yeah, definitely. And I've been kind of, as we was getting ready for the show and loading up, I was trying to figure out if I had to quantify my worry percentage with Jayden's injury. I would say right now it's kind of like a 30%, at like 30% of worry, because I just feel like that. I don't know if maybe it's because they, how they move. They don't really talk about things much. They mention things when needed. They don't overly, leak information and things of that nature. So maybe that's keeping my worry down. I also was kind of hearing on 106.7 The Fan, listening to the Junkies this morning. They talked about how, sometimes people just slap on a brace and play through it. It may limit his mobile ability and being able to, run and get out of the pocket, but it can be played through. Also, they mentioned that I believe it was Brandon Banks some years ago. He had to get like his knee scalped, and he ended up playing the same week. So it could be minor, it could be major. Like you said, when Dan, hits the press conference today in about 2 hours, we'll find out more information, and I'm sure that's going to be the number one question when he walks in that room. So, if you guys want to know what's going on, make sure you tune in. But if not, we're definitely going to make sure we report out what comes from that interview, and just praying for the best with Jayden. And kind of talk about the play that where it happened. You know what I mean? Because it should have been a penalty.
Should have been.
Yeah.
Should have been. Should
And
have
what
been a penalty.
what they call it, a hip drop? What is it called?
Drop hip tackle. Looks like the guy put all of his weight. He dropped his ass to the ground and tried to pull Jayden down, and his foot got rolled up underneath when he came down. Kind of a little freakish, similar to the play last year against the Carolina Panthers where he had the rib injury. Kind of similar style of, not tackle wise, but just I'm just saying like some freak injury type situation. But prayerfully that it's not to the extent that it could be. But like you said, we will see this afternoon and see what happens. But the good thing is we had 10 days to recover and get ready for the Raiders coming to town on the 21st. So that's good.
Yeah, and if you haven't already, please like, share, subscribe this video. Share it out to your fellow Commanders fans. We are on the road to 2K. We just just got over 1.7. So shout out to that. But also, stay tuned in with us. But yeah, bro. So outside of like one of the things we didn't mention, and we can further talk about Jayden, but I wanted to mention the John Bates thing. Like how serious are you caught up on that injury? I believe it was like a shoulder injury he was dealing with. Have you heard anything about the severity of that? Because John Bates is a key contributor to our run game. He's an extension, like an extra lineman in a sense. Considered over the past few weeks, they've been considered him being, one of the top blockers, if not the best blocking tight end in the league. And I think he's a key component to what we're doing offensively in the run game. So yeah, any info you have on that, or how do you feel about, that injury?
I don't have any information on that. Anywhere that I've seen wasn't really talking about it, but that goes to show like this organization is kind of, tight knit on releasing that information. In the past, we would get little nuggets here, little nuggets there. So that's another person of interest that we'll be locked into listening for at 3:30 when Dan has his presser as well. My level of concern is I'm very concerned. We really take for granted what he does in this offense and what he provides and the type of play that he goes out there and that toughness that he exudes. Like you said, all giving you extra, basically lineman on the field. Like John Bates is, in the offseason, we kind of were like, well, what was the contract? And everybody was like, well, what is he getting paid? Is he getting paid this? Is he getting paid that? But when you go back and you put that film on, he deserves every bit of an ounce of whatever money they gave him, whatever the numbers are, the true numbers are. He deserves it. This guy's taking double team. He's double teaming. He's going up and getting linebackers. He's hitting safeties. He's blocking defensive tackle. He's blocking everybody on the defense at some point in fashion. And he's doing it at a damn high level. So losing a guy like that, we can't afford to do that. Just a big player, like big time players make big time plays in big games. And as it relates to blocking, he does that for us. Springing backs and stuff like that, allowing them to get up on linebackers, get up on safeties and things of that nature. So like, I think that is a tough loss if it is a significant injury and he comes, has to miss any time because of the injury situation. Just this Thursday just was a bad week for us as it relates to the injury bugs. Too many injuries.
Yeah, actually, and looking back, correction, I mentioned it was a shoulder. It was not a shoulder injury. He suffered a groin injury in the first half. He was evaluated by trainers on the sideline, and they announced that he would not return. So definitely, like you mentioned, I'm highly concerned about that one as well. So hopefully but I haven't heard anything since the game. So hopefully it was more of like a precaution thing. But certainly don't want to want certainly need him out there. I know they went back and signed Lawrence Kager back to the practice squad. He was released from the practice squad earlier last week, so they brought him back. I'm not sure, how much of insurance or, what that means as far as a corresponding move or anything like that. But it is, like I always mention, it's something to monitor. And another, question that we answers that we're looking forward to when he, when Dan speaks today. You know what I mean? And also, we did a recap.
Before we move on, with the Dietrich Wise injury, like I thought the corresponding move there was going to be a Jadeveon Clowney, but he was signed by the Dallas Cowboys last night. So I'm curious to see like who they bring in to kind of fill that void on the defensive line.
Yeah, and I never really thought about the Clowney thing, to be honest. And now that you mention it, yeah, it would definitely probably would have been nice. But I think they may have, probably would have tried to supplement him with another run kind of stopping guy in a sense. So I'm not sure what the DN market looks like right now, and I'll pull it up. But I think that more of a run stopping style would have been a corresponding move for that one. Let's see here. Who is left on a free agent market? Best available. Edge. You got Clowney, Bird, Preston Smith. Preston Smith still out there? Well, those more of edge rushers. Kristen Wilkins, Quentin Jefferson.
Formerly of the Miami Dolphins, I believe it was, and then he went to.
Isn't that the guy that was just going through some stuff over the off season with some situations?
Maybe
like the locker room situation or something. Like a dude kissed him on his forehead, or he kissed.
Yeah. Exactly. Yep. Yeah, correct.
Yeah. So I mean, it doesn't really look like it's a lot out there. I don't know, man, but he's definitely listed. But yeah, I was gonna say, so we did a quick recap, Friday on our ride back about the game, and after kind of looking deeper into the tape, is there any assessments that you want to bring up, or any worries, any overreactions or underreactions, some things that requires immediate attention moving forward that that stood out to you? One or two things.
Yeah, Trey Amos has to tackle. He has to tackle better. That's the immediate thing that I saw. Will Harris has to tackle better. We just have to tackle better. I feel like we were there. We're trying to give guys shots and things of that nature, but we just have to wrap up and tackle. Fundamentals of tackling. That's pretty much from what I've saw defensively. Because live, I thought it was a different game than it really was when we watched it back. But we were kind of there. We were defensively kind of like sound, and we kind of got some stops and things of that nature. So I just think we just got to be a little bit better. Just be a little bit better tackling and getting off the field, and maybe some of the different defensive calls maybe need to be different, because all they kept doing basically was they would motion the tight end over, then they would send him back and hit him on the out, or like a flat route. It was like a flat route, but then the DB that was coming trying to go with him was getting picked. They did the same thing over and over again, the same play. And that was successful. That's why we weren't able to get off the field. From my vantage point. And I don't really remember too much offensively. It just was abysmal offensively.
Yeah, I think offensively we like to see the wide receivers get more separation. It seems like Debo is like the only guy out there really making plays. I think, on the Terry end of it, Terry's definitely was, he still had a good amount of catches the other day. And
Nine targets
his
though.
curls, yeah, his curls. It was most like curls, in routes, comeback, stuff like that. Nothing really deep. I mean, he had a deep pass thrown to him on the sideline, kind of out of his way. So
Well, I
that
mean, they
didn't
had to go
necessarily work.
quick game because that defensive line was getting pressure, and that's what they've been
Yeah,
known to be the last 2 weeks. So I think that was the game plan to get the ball out of his hands quickly and try to get some quick hitting stuff. We just couldn't convert and stay on the field. That was the problem.
yeah. 'Cause, I mean, like you said, the pressure was definitely there. Josh Connolly Jr. is definitely getting attacked. Teams are seeing him as a weakness. I mean, he's a rookie, so it's not really, I'm not hounding him or anything like that. He definitely has a lot more to learn and get more reps in, and I believe he will be better. But it just didn't seem, it was a mismatch. Gray got a sack on him. Michael was giving him the blues. I mean, we didn't really see much, tight end help on his side in those situations. I mean, so it was a little bit of a mixture of that, but also scheme. I also feel like Cliff got away. Well, he never established the run. 4 carries from Bill, and Ekeler had less than 10 carries as well. So I just
Yeah,
think
but I mean,
overall,
I get it. We always say you got to keep running the ball. You got to keep running the ball, but it kind of like felt like we were chasing this game the whole game.
but 14, I
From
mean,
start
but it
to the
was
finish.
14-3. It was 14-3 for a long time. And before that, like it felt like we was chasing because he played in a chasing style. Like we didn't have to pass the ball as much. Being down 14-3 in the second half, all third quarter, you don't have to throw the ball every time, especially when I mean, every time you drop back there in your face, you got to be able to supplement it in some way.
Yeah, but
So,
the
I
run
mean,
wasn't when if I'm the offensive coordinator and I'm handing the ball off and I'm not getting no yardage and the line is not getting no push, I might get away from it too. So we just got
but
to
that's
think about it from that aspect.
but we also got to look at it like even when look in the situation with Bills runs, what I mean, 4 or 5 yard first down. I think he had four carries for about maybe like 20 some yards. So he still was getting 4 to 5 yards per carry. I just feel like it wasn't the opportunity wasn't granted to really like get the momentum and get the flow of the run game going. What I mean? It wasn't like he was just getting tackles for loss. He was getting some good yards on the itty bitty carries that he did get. What I mean? So I just think you gotta stick with that in a sense. I'm not saying overly run because I get it. Yes, you may be chasing, but to me, chasing is being down 21 points or when you got a little bit of time left, like the score was
Shit, it
14-3.
felt like we was down 40. I ain't gonna hold you. To
You would
me,
think that, but it was really
they
14-3.
should have
So it's
had
like,
way more. They should have scored way more because some of them a little bit better accurate balls, like that's 3 touchdowns. Like they went up top a couple times and was just like barely didn't catch the football. And niggas
yeah,
was in chase mode the whole time. Lattimore was in chase mode the whole time.
yeah,
But
definitely.
it was but it wasn't on
Attack
it wasn't
Lattimore
like
over there.
initially in the game, people might think it's Lattimore, but it's always a Lattimore. Lattimore actually played pretty well.
Yeah.
Them other corners was getting their ass cooked. Mikey Savage
Facts.
still,
Mikey.
Trey
Yeah.
Amos. Yeah, go back and look at that shit. They was getting their
Yeah,
ass
that's
burnt.
true. That's very true.
But everybody want to say, "Oh, Lattimore, that we need to get rid of him. He ain't this," because they mentioned his name on the broadcast on the one. But for the most part, he played a pretty solid game.
Correct. Absolutely.
The other two, I can't say this. Mikey got his ass cooked. He's just lucky they ain't catch the football. But he kind of hides a little bit. But I saw it. I definitely saw that shit.
Yeah, Matt LaFleur definitely drew up a good scheme and it worked against us. But even though, like you said, it felt like we were being dominated, the game was a lot closer than we thought. But it didn't seem that way for sure. So I think that, I don't know. It was like a lackadaisical. I don't even know if it was that. It was just the moment, it just didn't. The energy just wasn't there. It was just like everybody. It's like they felt defeated or something. I don't know. And
I
that's
felt like the
from
first half, it felt like that. The second
that's
half, I
from
feel like they
coaches
came
on
out.
down.
I feel like the second half they came out with a little bit of urgency and stuff like that. We played a little bit better, but it was abysmal in the first half.
Correct.
Yeah, I would think Jada had 99 yards or something like that in the first half.
Yeah.
Some stat was crazy that they mentioned that like was ridiculous. And then also it was kind of like if Dan was playing scared a little bit anyway, because all last year we're going for that shit on fourth and whatever down. Like, so why are we settling for field goals with a guy that's known to not be a good field goal kicker from 50 or more? Like, I just didn't understand that. But in hindsight, if you go back and he makes those two kicks, we're down by 3 points if everything else happens the same way it happens. So we're fighting in the end to possibly either tie the game or score to take the lead at some point. I just feel like we just never could get the momentum where we could just stack a drive. It's like either the defense didn't hold up and the offense fluttered, or the defense held up and the offense didn't do what they were supposed to do. It was like no continuity relates to that. Like, I was like, okay, we got to get a stop, and then they went down and let them get a touchdown. Like,
Correct.
come on, bro. Like, we needed to stop.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. And where's Franklin Galuvu? Through 2 weeks, I haven't seen him. I mean,
Where your
he's
man
out
John
there.
at with the flashlight? John with a flashlight at. So the fuck he be doing all that?
Yeah, like Earth to
Frankie Louvu
Frankie
has
Louvu.
not been seen. I don't know what's going on with him, but he has not been seen.
Yeah. And on our rewatch, we realized on that first bomb to Kraft, Bobby Wagner in the wrong spot. He went chasing the running back along with the safety or the outside guy and left the middle of the field, the seam wide open.
He's been in that hook curl. Yep.
Yeah, so I believe it's a lot of work to do for sure. I mean, we can't just carry this notion that we have arrived because we made the NFC championship last year. We got work to do. And I don't necessarily feel like we're better all the way across the board, hence the wide receiver room. Something I said, early on off season. Okay, we got Debo. Okay, when Terry get back, we'll have Terry. But then who else? You know what I mean? So, and it still stands that way. I mean, Noah Brown is Noah Brown, but it's like we don't really have that dynamic weapon that'll just stretch the field, that'll just take the top off of defenses and things of that nature. So it's like, what are we going to do about that? We can't clearly, especially with this PCL now, you're not going to be able to rely on Jayden's legs as much. So, we have to figure it out. Before the game, AP went and created $14 million in cap by restructuring Laramie Tunsil's deal. Now, does that mean you're going to go get somebody, or are you trying to, save up some bag to re-sign some of these guys? I don't know, but it's some questions out there, and I think we need to really evaluate the team and just see where we can be better. That's all. Always be looking to upgrade the team in some way. So whether that means, a free agent, whether that means a trade, another trade, got to figure it out.
Yeah. If you're new to the channel, please like, share, subscribe, hit the bell notification above so you can get other informative videos just like this. We are on the road to 2,000 subscribers. We are at 1,700 and something at the moment. So please help us get to our goal of 2,000 subscribers by the end of this month. It goes a long way helping us bring these videos and this content that we're bringing to you here on Instagram, YouTube, X, and any other TikTok, any other social media platforms. But yeah, it's I agree with you. I couldn't agree much more with that. We haven't arrived, and we knew this was going to be a tougher schedule. And I'm not saying that I'm defeated after one bad showing against a team that's obviously being picked to be there, be in the running. Obviously a playoff team from last year. So, it is what it is. It's a long season. It's going to have its ebbs and flows, ups, downs, and in-betweens. but I just feel like we just need to play a little bit better. And hopefully we can get back on track this Sunday against the Raiders. We're opening up a 6 points favorites, I guess you would say.
Yeah, favorites. Yep. Yeah. We'll see how that pans out. And make sure y'all stay tapped in with us. Reedie and Z are going to be doing our very first watch party this weekend with the for the Raiders game. We will not be in attendance, so we will be having a watch party at Reedie and Z Field. We're going to debut. So y'all, the ins and outs of what Reedie got cooking over there in his new basement. And yeah, we're gonna turn up. We're gonna have a good time. But yeah, if bro don't have anything else, I'll yo, what's up? This Z, Reedie and Z here. I'm here to do a sponsor shout out to our new official sponsor, Elite Locks. If you're looking to boost your winnings, Elite Locks have you covered. They put in the research to handpick the best plays so you don't have to. Whether you're trying to make a quick flip or play the long game with high-stake bets, they got packages for every bettor. The best part, you're not just getting plays, you're getting expert advice to help you maximize your returns. Once you grab a package, just shoot them a screenshot in their DMs, and they will send you over access to your plays. We're rocking with Elite Locks for a reason. Tap in with them, and let's make money together. As always, gamble responsibly. If you need help, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Elite Locks. So yeah, if you don't have anything else, bro, we can head on out and get ready for Dan Quinn's interview.
Yeah. Also, tap in with us this Wednesday with Juan Gotti from Juan Gotti Talking Sports. Also, John from Ball in the Burgundy Podcast. Also, if you haven't already done so, sub them up as well. We're on our individual roles as content creators. And also follow us at the Burgundy Breakdown Wash on YouTube and on Instagram. We're giving you up to the minute, updates as it relates to this team all year on Reedie and Z page and the Burgundy Breakdown page. So yeah, tap in with us this Wednesday about 9:30ish. We'll be going live with those guys and talking about the plan for this week. As it relates to the Raiders and this upcoming game. But until next time, we're gonna holler at y'all.
It's the Reedie and Z Show.
Breaking